The system has lied to you. They told you that discipline is a battle of will, a constant struggle to push harder, run faster, and do more. But what if the very act of trying is exactly what keeps you trapped in the cycle of failure? Welcome to the psychological glitch. Most people spend their lives chasing results, unknowingly triggering a biological rejection within themselves. It's called the effort paradox. The more you desire an outcome, the more your nervous system treats that desire as a threat. Today, I will reveal the reverse psychology of the 1%. We are not going to talk about working harder. We are going to talk about how to stop fighting the algorithm of your own mind and start hacking it. This is the end of the struggle, the biological resistance. To understand why you are failing, you must first understand the architecture of your own confinement. The law of reversed effort is not a suggestion. It is a fundamental law of the human psyche that the system desperately tries to hide from you. It states that the harder you consciously try to do something, the less you will succeed. Think of a night when you were desperate for sleep. The more you demanded rest, the more your heart raced, and the further sleep drifted away into the shadows. This is not a coincidence. It is a biological glitch, a failsafe designed for a world that no longer exists. When you try to force discipline, you are sending a high-frequency signal to your subconscious that the task is difficult, painful, and requires extreme survival effort. Your brain, which is evolved for energy conservation and predator avoidance, perceives this internal pressure as a direct threat to your existence. It triggers the amygdala, the ancient alarm system of the mind, flooding your system with cortisol, the stress hormone that effectively shuts down the prefrontal cortex. This is the irony. The very part of your brain responsible for logical discipline is the first thing that goes offline when you try too hard. This is exactly where the system wants you. A mind in a state of constant trying is a mind that is easily manipulated, perpetually distracted, and fundamentally broken. Grind culture is not a path to success. It is a sophisticated product sold to you to keep you in a loop of chemical exhaustion. It creates a massive multi-billion-dollar market for temporary fixes. Synthetic caffeine, loud motivational speeches, and complex productivity apps that only serve to mask the underlying biological fatigue. You are being sold the expensive cure for a disease the system itself created in its laboratories of consumption. The elite 1% do not push through their days with raw willpower. They understand a truth you have been conditioned to forget. Willpower is a finite resource, a volatile chemical battery that drains every time you force a decision against your own internal resistance. They don't use force, they use alignment. They have mastered the art of non-striving, a state of high-performance indifference. While the world is shouting for you to do more and be more, the real power lies in the absolute absence of noise. Every time you grit your teeth to work, you are reinforcing the neurological idea that work is a punishment. You are building a mental prison, stone by stone, under the guise of self-improvement. You are teaching your nervous system to fear your own goals. In this state of strategic indifference, the resistance vanishes. The friction that once slowed you down turns into a smooth, frictionless surface. Only when you stop the war within yourself can you start winning the war against the external algorithm. You are not a machine to be driven into the ground. You are a frequency to be tuned. If the frequency is wrong, no amount of trying will produce the right melody. The system profits from your noise. The individual profits from the silence. It is time to stop trying and start allowing strategic indifference. Now we apply the glitch. To hack the system, you must master the art of strategic indifference. Most people fail because they are too emotionally attached to the outcome. They want the result so badly that they unknowingly tighten the noose around their own potential. The more you crave success, the more your mind views the lack of it as a life-threatening deficiency. This is the ultimate trap. The 1% do the opposite. They set their intention with surgical precision, and then they turn their back on it. This is the reverse psychology of mastery. By telling your brain that the result does not define your survival, you effectively remove the threat signal that triggers the cortisol. The internal resistance vanishes because there is nothing left to fight. You are no longer trying to be disciplined. You are simply existing in a state of high-frequency alignment. This is where the magic happens. This is where the results start chasing you instead of you chasing them. You don't need more willpower. You need less internal noise. Stop fighting the algorithm of your mind. Become the algorithm. When you operate from a place of non-wanting, you become a chaotic variable that the system cannot predict or control. You become a ghost in their machine. You move with a fluidity that grind culture can never replicate. Discipline becomes as natural as breathing, not because you are stronger, but because you are no longer standing in your own way. You have flipped the switch from force to flow. This is the secret they don't want you to know. The less you care about the struggle, the faster the struggle ends. This is not laziness. This is the ultimate psychological leverage. It is time to stop the pursuit and allow the arrival. You are not fighting the system anymore. You have surpassed it. The silence is your new territory. The struggle was never the path. The release is the way. Stay in this frequency. Observe the shift. Let the world adjust to you, rather than you bending to the world's exhaustion. This is the end of the effort paradox. This is the beginning of your absolute control. The path of quiet energy. Now that you have bypassed the law of reversed effort, you must learn to walk the path of quiet energy. Most people assume that power is loud. They think it requires shouting at yourself in the mirror or forcing a state of aggressive motivation. The system wants you loud and reactive because a loud mind is an easy target for distraction. But the elite 1% move in the shadows of their own mind. They possess a stillness that the algorithm cannot compute. This is not the work harder rhetoric you see on every corner of the internet. That path leads only to the burnout the system profits from. Instead, you must adopt the mindset of a master who is already certain of the outcome. When you act with quiet energy, you're not chasing success. You are simply allowing it to catch up to you. Every action becomes a calculated, frictionless movement. You do the work, but you do it without the internal commentary of how much longer, or is this enough? This is the Stoic secret to mastering self-discipline. It is the realization that while you control your efforts, the results belong to the universe. By surrendering the need to control the outcome, you gain absolute control over the present moment. This is the 1% mindset. It is the ability to operate at a high frequency while maintaining a resting heart rate. You become the predator in a world of prey, not through aggression, but through observation and alignment. The system thrives on your cortisol and your constant state of becoming. It fears the person who has already arrived in their mind. When you stop striving to become disciplined and simply start being the frequency of discipline, the environment around you begins to shift. Doors open that were previously locked by the friction of your own desperation. The struggle ends because you have stopped feeding the fire with your own exhaustion. You are now moving with the current of the algorithm rather than swimming against it. This is the final hack. This is the point where the pursuit ends and the mastery begins. You are no longer fighting for a seat at the table. You have built your own room in the silence. The final realization. The system has no data on a person who has mastered the silence. It cannot categorize or predict a soul that refuses to struggle for its approval. By choosing the path of strategic indifference and quiet energy, You have effectively exited the game they wanted you to play. You are no longer a consumer of motivation. You are the source of it. You have reclaimed the only thing the algorithm could never possess: your undistracted attention. The reverse psychology of discipline is not about doing less. It is about being more. It is about realizing that the walls of your mental prison were built with your own effort, and they vanish the moment you stop trying to push through them. You have reached the end of the pursuit. From this frequency, you will see the world for what it truly is: a series of scripts designed to keep you exhausted and compliant. But you are now the glitch. You move with a fluidity that looks like magic to those still trapped in the grind. You achieve more in an hour of alignment than they do in a week of struggle. This is the 1% mindset in its purest form. This is the mastery of the void. As you leave this space, carry the silence with you. Do not go back to the war of willpower. Stay in the frequency of alignment. If this revelation has resonated with your core, leave a comment below with the word aligned to signal your arrival. Subscribe to remain tuned to this frequency and share this with those who are still fighting a battle they were never meant to win. We are the architects of the new silence. The struggle is over. Your arrival has begun.